They just cannot get Walz. They can't. They're just struggling to critique Walz. Here is Laura Ingraham, who this is fantastic.
Maybe my favorite so far, because of she's using her I'm outraged voice or whatever, like right. This is just, but the words that are coming out.
Ingram.
No, it was not. I got to work. Once I hear her, I'll work on it. But like the idea, this she's using outrage tone, but the words aren't matching the tone, right? Like,
is this number 10?
I think this is the one. Yes.
Which one do you want to do first?
The one about the. I don't have it in front of me, Bradley.
Let's do number 10 first.
The 10, yeah.
10, then we'll do number 10.
Okay. Here's Laura Ingraham talking about how Tim
that's
Walz,
not what I was referencing, but yeah.
Which one are you
We'll
doing?
do both.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do both.
All right. Well, here's number 10. Here's Laura Ingraham attempting to attack Tim Walz, and simultaneously espousing her bona fides to make this assessment, and simultaneously undercutting her bona fides to make this assessment.
Policy.
And these are just facts, Mary Catherine Ham. I mean, if you know Minnesota, and I don't well, especially Milwaukee, it's changed. It has never recovered from 2020. And it's not the same place. And Tim Walz was empathizing with all the DEI initiatives that were swirling about the controversies. Yeah, well,
Whoops.
Whoopsie.
She knows it well.
She knows it well.
Put up a map, and let's take a look at Milwaukee, Minnesota.
Milwaukee, Minnesota.
Take a look at that.
It's changed so much.
It is
changed. So much.
Well, I mean, in many respects, it has. It's almost like in a completely different state now.
Whoops.
Here is Milwaukee. As you can see, it has changed so much that, can we zoom in on it? Milwaukee's actually in a completely different state. That's how much has changed.
That's so odd.
Tim Walz moved Milwaukee to Wisconsin.
I mean, he's effective.
Crazy.
He's an effect. He makes change.
There you go. Pretty crazy thing to do as governor. But I guess they just thought, like, all right. I wonder if they did it like in the middle of the night just to sort of like freak people out.
I mean, crime is really out of control when you're stealing a city and putting it somewhere else.
I would just wonder if like all those people, they're in Milwaukee, Minnesota, and they wake up the next morning, they're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and they like, let's go on, a road trip. And they're like, what's going on with all this like cheese? Why is everybody talking about cheese so much?
It's so weird.
People
aren't
What is happening?
about land theft enough and the Democrats' policy of moving whole cities into other locations.
All right, but let's get on to the serious stuff. We can joke about Laura Ingraham, mistakenly thinking that Milwaukee is in Minnesota as a way of critiquing.
She knows it very well.
But let's get to the serious stuff. Walz apparently has been trying to pull the wool over our eyes. And frankly, I'll be honest with you, Emma, you and Crystal fell right into this trap. You both referred to him as a football coach. Here's Laura Ingraham.
this entire ticket is a con job. America is supposed to rally for a guy because he's from rural America and served in the Guard? The man even felt the need to give the false impression about his coaching position, we learned.
To his former high school football players, he was coach. Coach.
Well, the truth, he was the assistant coach.
Whoa.
Bum, bum, bum.
You're kidding me.
He was not the coach.
Say it ain't so.
He was the defensive coordinator, you lying liberals.
Also, as if I think... Oh, go ahead, Sam.
Well, I don't know if, I played sports a lot as a kid. And you had, invariably, you had assistant coaches. You had coach and you had assistant coaches. And I will tell you something that I never, ever, ever did was to go up to the assistant coach and say, hey, assistant coach, where am I, are we going to hit with the fungo? or
It's
hey,
insane.
assistant coach number 2. What are we doing this week? Like, are we going to run drills or what's going on?
But that's what I was
Assistant
saying
coach,
about the tone.
I've got to leave early. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Excuse me, running backs coach. Can I?
Right.
Can I go out in the field to practice?
They refer. I mean, they've interviewed his former students. They talk about him as Coach Walz because that's the D coordinator. You call him Coach. Like,
Yeah, in the
Coach
NFL,
Belichick
right.
was before he was Coach Belichick for the Patriots. He was Coach Belichick, defensive coordinator for the New York Giants. Like, that's how you refer to
but
the
I'm
coach.
sure a lot of the players went up there and referred to him as like defensive coordinator coach.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know, like,
Linebackers coach.
my
Hey,
leg is
quality
hurting.
control coach.
Coordinator Belichick, a word, please.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
It's ridiculous. I mean, that's what I was saying about her tone not matching the words coming out of her mouth. Like, it sounds like she's about to say that Tim Walz like endorsed Sharia law in Minnesota, and now she's like, he was only an assistant coach on the team that went 0-27 before he joined, and then they won the state championship. The problem that they have
Miraculously turned around his football team.
is that this man may be the most wholesome American that like I could have ever conjured. A 24-year military veteran who then went on to teach high school, was the faculty advisor for a gay straight alliance in the 90s as he was the coach. He talks about how he thinks he won
Yeah,
in
you
that
did it
rural
again, though.
district. What'd you say?
You did it again.
I know, I'm
Assistant
sorry.
coach.
But we are propagandists.
Yeah.
Like,
We're lying.
we're lying.
When I coached my son's minor league baseball team.
When you assistant coached.
The fact is, I assistant coached. And I remember when these kids would come up to me, they would be, like 8, 9, and they'd say, Coach Seder, Coach Sam, and I would say, excuse me. I don't know how many times I have to tell you, I am a parent volunteer assistant coach. You will address me as such. You will
Get the titles
parent
right.
volunteer assistant coach Sam or parent volunteer assistant coach Seder. You
Sam
will
said-
not call me coach.
Sam said, "Kid,
Stop
can you shut the
cutting
hell up for a
corners.
Could you shut the hell up for
Maybe
a
you
second?
stop cutting corners and maybe you'll learn to run the bases properly. It is parent teachers assistant coach Seder to you.
Excuse me. Do not bestow upon me stolen coach valor. Okay?
Exactly.
He's
Now,
stealing
we should
valor.
also say,
Yeah. go ahead.
they're trying to build this narrative around him that he has stolen valor. So the coach thing is supposedly like the reinforcement to the fact that this guy was in the National Guard for 26 years, and
24,
or 24. I did it again. His unit deployed a couple of months after he retired, and they're trying to make it like he retired as a way of escaping deployment. We should say he'd been there for 24 years. And they also were trying to make an issue of, apparently he was can't remember what the rank was, when he served in the National Guard. When he went into retirement, he could not retire with that rank because he hadn't taken some type of test. And so I think in retirement, he was maybe he was a sergeant major when he was in the Guard.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was command sergeant that he retired as, but either he was a master or major command sergeant that he reached the rank, but since he didn't complete that test,
Right.
he didn't
So-
retire as it.
As he served, he was a master sergeant, commander. Or a commander sergeant. As he in retirement, he was not a master because he hadn't done this. And so they're trying to make it like he has been fooling people. And apparently, years ago, somebody had said it sounded like he retired with this, and they stopped saying that. So they're trying to make an issue, and they're not finding anything. Here's another example of the absolute desperation that the right is having trying to sort of attack Tim Walz. They can't. They're having trouble attacking Kamala Harris because, of course, they have built no narrative around her, and the only thing that they literally, when they open their mouths when it comes out to Kamala Harris, the only thing they can do is say DEI, because anything else they realize like that's just way too explicit. But DEI is pretty explicit in and of itself. I mean, remember, these are people who've been warned, don't be overtly racist. So they go to Walz and they try and attack Walz, and they can't come up with anything. And this is the best that Jesse Waters can do. Basically, imply that Tim Walz has some type of, I don't know, gender issue, or maybe like, you know, toupee, or I don't know what, but watch this.
Here's Twitchy Tim on stage, waving profusely in a very unsettling manner, very unsettling. Men should not move this way. It's not the way we move. And the handshake is probably the most telling. This is Walz and his wife shaking hands like business associates, followed by a weird hug. Now let's compare that to Walz's interaction with Kamala's husband, Doug. Interesting. What's going on here? Wow.
Wow.
Wow, indeed.
He did the same thing for both. He grabbed the hand and then hugged for both. So they're trying to say he's closeted. Do Republicans, they want to go down this road?
I mean, honestly,
You want to go down this road about closeted politicians? Just, I mean,
Can't think of one.
Where's Michelle Bachmann's husband right now?
what about CPAC?
Yeah, where's Matt Schlapp?
Am I the only person who knows what's going on with the most
Matt
prominent
Schlapp was
conservative
schlapping
figure?
asses over there.
It's,
How about what's Lindsey Graham's status?
It is but it's just stunning that this is where they're going to, because like they have basically said, we're just gonna we give up. We're only gonna just try, and we're going for all the Rogan crowd. Meanwhile, the whole Rogan crowd apparently has decided going for RFK.
This is amazing. I saw our AM Quickies own Jacob Silverman was saying that now Texas is in play. This is an interesting dynamic. Like Colin Allred, I don't find him to be an inspiring politician at all. Like Beto O'Rourke, I think, was more exciting to the base, but he's only polling like 3 points behind Ted Cruz, and I don't think Kamala is going to take Texas by any stretch of the imagination. But if we're like the polling that we saw this morning, this was this not the CNBC poll, it was Ipsos. RFK's support nationally has gone down from 10 to 4% after Kamala entered the race. So that seems to say, like, before the dynamic was RFK seemed to be taking more from Biden's totals. But now we're in a situation where his margins are slimmer. There's all this weird crap coming out about him dumping a bear in Central Park or whatever. And then you have the podcast bros for all those like young men that Biden is, that Trump is trying to target, saying maybe support RFK. In races like in Texas, again, I don't think this affects the presidential race really, but this could depress people, or they could, I don't know, just vote for RFK, or it could, it's a wild card if you have the Rogan types making these cases.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.